we started off with an LP model where all the constraints are less than or equal to. That's a bit of an unrealistic LP model because when we formulate, usually it's a mix of greater than, less than, and equal to constraints in the model. So the reason why we started with the LP models having all less than or equal to constraints is just to illustrate how the simplex method works. Um, how we are able to get the initial solution conveniently if we are able to use the origin as our starting point. Origin meaning if you have two decision variables, then x1, x2 equals 0 would be your origin. And it's easy to get an initial solution if both x1 and x2 are 0. So that's easy to do whenever you have models with all less than or equal to constraints. That's why we started with that. No? However, the simplex method will progress, no, will develop as we solve more complex models, no, meaning more realistic models. Yung yung assignment at saka yung lecture ko last meeting is really just for you to familiarize with the procedure and understand every step of the procedure, why we do what we do. Okay, so again, this is not like a robot thing na, okay, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. You have to be able to do the steps, one step each, okay, and be able to understand why we choose the most negative, why we choose the least ratio, okay, as our leaving variable, etc. And then why we multiply, why we divide the pivot row by the pivot element to go to the next iteration. Why do we do that? Why do we have to convert the coefficients to 1 and then all the others in the column to 0? Why do we have to do that? Okay, and in the process of doing that, are we changing the system of equations that we are solving, or is it the same system? So all of these things now were discussed in the recorded lecture. If you listen to them, you should know exactly why we're doing each step in the procedure. Okay, so again, reminder lang, quiz 2 is highly conceptual. There will be theoretical questions about simplex, about graphical approach that you need to answer. So it's important that you understand the procedure and not just know the steps. Okay? So again, know and understand the steps. So today we'll discuss LP models with greater than and equal to constraints. What makes these realistic models different? Okay, and what are the similarities, no, between the simplex now and the simplex that we discussed last time? Okay, so let's start with this simple model where you have one greater than constraint, one less than, and one equal to. Okay, so if you allow me to go back, no, to this model last time, the reason why we were able to easily find an initial solution. Remember, step 1 in the simplex is to, what is step 1 in the simplex procedure? What do we do with this model? What do we do with this? Step 1. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Abigail. Standard form. Okay. And then step 2 is from the standard form, you get your initial, very important to, initial solution. But your initial solution should be feasible. That's the first condition. And the second condition, it has to be a basic solution. And we have defined basic solution in our lecture last time. Basic solution simply means that if you have a system of equations where you have more variables than equations, then it means that the excess number of variables must be assumed to be 0 for your solution to be a basic solution. If all your excess variables in that system are assumed to be 0, then you are sure to have a basic solution. Okay. Now, of course, if you have, let's say, 8 variables and then 5 equations, you only need 5 equations, 5 unknowns to solve for the variables. So if you have 8 variables, it means that you have 3 excess, no? And if you have 5 equations, you have 3 excess variables. So you assume all of those excess variables to 0, and then you solve for the remaining 5 variables in your system. If the value of the remaining 5 variables are all non-negative, meaning 0 or positive, lahat lumabas, then you have a feasible basic solution. Okay, so you assume 3 variables to 0, and the remaining variables, you solve them, and after solving them, at least one came out to be negative after solving. Then you have an infeasible solution, basic solution. Now, the requirement for simplex is that you start with an initial feasible basic solution. Dalawang condition. Basic, meaning all excess variables should be assumed 0. And then feasible means the remaining variables you solve for should all be non-negative, 0 or positive dapat. Okay, so there are 2 conditions. Now, what made it easy for us last time is that we said that to convert less than or equal to constraints to standard form, we simply add slack variables. Okay, slack variables. Meaning, for the first constraint, you just add S1 and equate it to 17. For the second constraint, you just add S2 and equate it to 9. And for the third constraint, you just add S3 and equate it to 16. Okay, and in so doing, you actually get a system of 3 equations, but having 6 unknowns, x1, x2, x3, s1, s2, s3. 6 unknowns, but a system of 3 equations. Meaning, okay, meaning your n minus m is equal to 6 minus 3, or that is equal to 3 variables in excess that must be assumed to be 0. Okay, you have 3 variables in excess. Now, the most convenient starting point will always be the origin. Because if you start with the origin, then it means that all your excess are 0. Okay? And that makes it easy to solve the system. If all your excess are 0, then automatically your S1 is 17, your S2 is 9, and your S3 is 16. Very easy to solve the system. That's the reason why if you have slack variables, okay, napakabilis kunin ng initial basic feasible solution. Okay? Kaya we started with less than equal to constraints. Kasi pag less than or equal to constraints lahat yan, yung slack variables natin, ang sign lahat positive. Okay? So, hindi ka magkakaroon ng infeasible solution. Pag surplus variables kasi class, pag kunyari greater than constraint, surplus variables have to be subtracted. Kasi the left side is bigger than the right side pag greater than constraint. So therefore, you have to subtract a surplus variable. And if you subtract a surplus variable, it disables you from using the origin kasi magkakaroon ka ngayon ng infeasible solution. Imagine nyo to ha, pag greater than constraint itong 17, itong 17 na to, magiging minus S1 equal to 17. Pag siniro ko yung origin, pag siniro ko yung X1, X2, X3, yung S1 mo will be negative 17. You cannot start with an infeasible solution. That's one of the problems. Okay? So ngayon, if that is clear to you, the simplest LP model to solve using simplex is less than equal to lahat. Pero alam natin, realistically, practically speaking, this is the more realistic form of an LP model, a mix of constraints. Okay, so let's try to look at the difficulties. Okay, first thing to do here is to get the standard form. Let's say wala pa tayong alam. Ang alam lang natin yung lesson last meeting. Okay, we have to get the standard form. Okay, and to get the standard form, I'll write it here. No, I have very little space to write on, but I'll write it here. Z minus, okay, you know how to get the standard form, no? You transpose everything, the variables to the left side. So if you did your homework, you should know how to do this. Okay, that's for the objective function. For the constraints, okay, for the constraints, 2x1, class, you can feel free to chat or to, feel free to chat or to unmute yourself. 2x1 plus x2, what do I do? It's a greater than constraint. What do I add or do I subtract variable?
Subtract po, sir.
Subtract. And you subtract a surplus variable. You call it S1. Okay? You subtract a surplus variable to make the left side equal to the right side. Kasi greater than, so it's saying the left side is more than the right side, di ba? So if it's more than the right side, you subtract something to make it equal. Okay, so that's the surplus variable. For the second constraint, standard form would be 2x1 plus 9x2 plus, okay, this time it's a less than constraint, so you add a slack variable. Okay, so the left side is smaller than the right side, so you add something to make them equal to each other, so equal to 36. And then what do we do with the last constraint? Is the last constraint in standard form already?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's in standard form already, so 2x1 plus 3x2 equal to 24. And then of course all variables greater than or equal to 0. That's the standard form, as easy as that, no? Step 1. Based on what we know last time. Okay, and for step 2, I'll put it here. Initial basic feasible solution. We now have to count the number of variables, no, in our new system, no, after adding the slack and the surplus variables. We now have a system of 3 equations. If you look here, 3 equations, but more than 3 unknowns. And you will, if you count, you'll have how many variables here? What is n
4,
plus?
sir.
4. Okay, and then your m, the number of equations, will be 3. So that tells you now that you have an excess, and your excess is expressed as n minus m. Okay, and that will be equal to 4 minus 3 equal to 1. And that excess variable, one excess variable, has to be, for you to have an initial basic solution, whatever is in excess must be assumed 0. Okay, must be equated to 0. Now, obviously, unlike the previous problem with all less than equal to constraints, here, I cannot start and I cannot have an initial solution that starts at the origin, because origin means that x1 and x2 are both 0. Pero there's only one variable that we can assume 0 in this particular problem. So obviously I cannot start at the origin. So that's the first problem. Now, question is, so sir, why is it a problem if I cannot start with the origin? Okay, so consider this very simple problem, a simple model that we have. A very simple model. If I cannot start at the origin, unlike the previous, when I started with the origin, x1, x2, x3, 0, automatically, I have the values of s1, s2, and s3. In other words, solving the system of equations, 3 equations, 3 unknowns, was not a problem. Okay? It was not a problem. Here, on the other hand, okay, here, if I were to assume one variable to 0, mamimili ako ng isa dyan sa 4. Di ba? I can choose x1 to be 0 and then solve for the rest. And then hope that the rest of the variables, when I solve them, walang mag-negative. Kasi kailangan mag-start ako sa basic feasible solution. Okay? So, medyo mas matagal. Tingnan nyo ha. Pag in-assume nyo, let's say, S1 is 0. Let's say lang, assume S1 is 0. Kasi ayaw natin na may negative. Oh. Negative kasi yung coefficient niyan eh. Ayaw natin mag-negative yung value ng S1. So, assume S1 is 0. How will you solve for X1, X2, and S2? Just tell me by looking at the equation. So if I assume S1 to be 0, equation number 1 will be 2x1 plus x2 equals 12. Okay? And then equation number 3 will be 2x1 plus 3x2 equal 24. Can I solve those two equations simultaneously? 1 and 3?
Yes, sir.
Can, di ba? So after I solve, anyone, you can solve. You can solve it now. So I'll just do it mentally, di ba? Minus ko yan, yung 2x1. Minus ko yung x2 minus 3x2, negative 2x2 equal to 12 minus 24, negative 12. Okay, so x2 is equal to 6. So I get x2, solving 1 and 3 simultaneously, I get x2 equal to 6 and x1 is equal to 3. Okay, I'll get, so ito s1 is 0. You assume s1 to be 0. Then from equations 1 and 3, you solve for x1 and x2 simultaneously. x1 comes out to be 3, x2 comes out to be 6 if you solve them simultaneously. Okay, and then once you have x1 and x2, substitute nyo sa equation number 2. So 2 times 3, 6, plus 9 times 6, 54. So that makes 60, right? And then therefore, S2 to be equal to 36 has to be negative 24. You get my point? So the problem of not being able to conveniently start at the origin is that number one, you have to choose which variables to assume to 0. Okay, you have to choose. After you select, then you have to solve the system simultaneously. So mayroong mga systems na kailangan mo isolve. Okay, and then once you solve for the value, in the end, makikita mo infeasible. So therefore, this cannot be your starting solution. So try another one. Assume mo naman as, let's say, x1 is 0. Okay, if you assume x1 is 0, this is a basic solution. Kasi zinero mo yung isang variable eh. Okay, and then solve for x2. x2 comes out to be 8. Okay, from equation 3, x2 comes out to be 8 if x1 is 0. Okay, so by the way, baka magtaka kayo, bakit saan ko nakuha yung S10? In-assume ko yan. Kasi alam ko, I can assume one variable to 0 eh. So for this one naman, I assumed x1 naman ang 0. So solving for x2 from equation 3, x2 is equal to 8. Since may x1 and x2 na ako, I can now solve for S1 and S2. Let's start sa first equation. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 8, okay, minus S1 is equal to 12. So again, from equation 1, you will see that S1 is equal to negative 4 para maging 12 yung right side. Okay? O yung left side, para maging 12, kailangan S1 should be negative 4. And from equation 2, if x2 is 8, 72, S2 would have to be negative 36. Again, you come up with an initial solution that is infeasible. It's basic because of this, but it's infeasible because of these two. So again, hindi na naman pwede yan. Okay? And you can imagine if you have 20 constraints with so many variables, how that system of equation will look like, di ba? If you have to do it by trial and error this way. Okay? So again, we want to establish a procedure by which we can conveniently start and identify a starting basic feasible solution so that we can apply the steps of simplex in getting the optimal solution. Baka kasi dito pa lang sa pagkuha ng initial solution, sa pagta-trial and error nyo, maubos na yung oras nyo, no? Kasi you keep getting basic infeasible solutions. Okay? So you can only start if you have a basic feasible solution. I hope that is clear. Okay? And these are the problems, no? Okay? These are the problems brought about by greater than equal to constraint. Number one, obviously, from what I have shown you, you cannot use the origin. Di ba? Origin is x1 equals x2 equals 0 in that problem because it only requires one variable to be assumed 0 to have a basic solution. So since the origin cannot be used, then the difficulty of having to solve equations simultaneously arises, which is what we have done. We assumed one variable to 0, and then we solved the other equations, the other variables through simultaneous system of equations. Diba? We solved the other variables, and then we found out that they were invisible. Okay? So that difficulty is there. Lalo na kapag ka marami ng constraints yung LP model mo. Okay? Mas mahirap na isolve. Okay? And then, number two, which I will show you later on, is that the coefficients of the model cannot be readily transferred to the simplex tableau without violating the tableau requirement. So, dito naman, dadalhin ko kayo rito. Okay? This one. In my lecture last meeting, I emphasized that whenever you use the simplex method and you fill in the values in the simplex tableau, the coefficients in the simplex tableau, you have to make sure that all of these three requirements are met. Nakalagay dito at all times. Okay? Nakalagay at all times. Lang. Okay, nakalagay dito, at all times, the simplex tableau should be such that the coefficients of the basic variables in the Z row, the first row of the tableau, should all be 0. The constraint coefficients of the basic variables should form an identity matrix, and the values of Z and the basic variables can be read on the solution column. Okay, so I show you that if you have greater than equal to constraints, the coefficients of the model cannot be readily transferred. Okay? In step 3, hindi diretso, hindi siya straightforward. Okay? Kaya, ito yung mga problems that you will encounter when you have a model such as this. Okay? Such as this one. Anyway, let's continue. We have the standard form already. So for us to be able to address those two problems, no, those two problems that I just mentioned, yung not being able to start at the origin and not being able to transfer directly yung coefficients of the model to the simplex tableau without violating the requirements here on the right side. Okay? So to address those two problems, we now come up with what we call the artificial variable technique. Okay, for solving greater than equal to and equal to constraints, LP models with those two types of constraints. Okay, artificial variable technique. So again, this is just to show you graphically how the optimal solution is obtained for this model. So you can use this as practice as well, no? You have one greater than, again, you have three constraints. Naka-label naman yung mga lines nyo, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and you will see that constraint number 3 is an equation, meaning it does not have an arrow. So if you look at constraint number 3, this one, okay, ito yung equation mo, you will see that it does not have an arrow upward or downward, no, or to the right or to the left. Kasi nga, it's an equation. So therefore, it's just an equation. The graph is just a line. Okay, it's just a line. So therefore, after graphing 1, 2, and 3, if you look for the common points, the common feasible solution space, you will see that it's not a region, unlike the other problems that we have solved in the past. No, it's not a region, but it's a line segment. So if you will see that this constraint is going downwards, no, constraint number 2. Constraint number 1 naman is going to the right, no? So this one going there and going here. And then constraint number 3 is as it is, that line segment. So you will see that the intersection of all of these constraints, 3 constraints, would result in a feasible solution space that involves a line segment lang. Ito lang. Okay? Yan na yung feasible solutions. Set of feasible solutions, yung line segment AB. Okay? So, again, infinite number of solutions pa rin yan kasi in between line segment AB, there are infinite number of possible points. Okay? So, therefore, in your corner point approach, ang ma-identify mo lang is dalawang corner points, A and B lang. Okay? You only have A and B. So, it so happens that A is your optimal solution where x1 is 9. Pag sinolve nyo to, no? x1 is 9, x2 is 2, and then z is equal to 62. Pag sinubstitute nyo 9 and 2 dito, 9, and then dito 2, 8 plus 54. So your z will come out to be 62. That's your optimal solution using the corner point approach. So obviously from the graph, you see that you're unable to start at the origin. Kasi yung origin, yung point na x1, x2 equals 0 is an infeasible solution. It's not even a basic solution. It's an infeasible, non-basic solution. That's why we don't start at the origin kapag ka may greater than constraint. Okay? At saka pag may equal to constraint. Nakita nyo graphically na hindi tayo makapag-start sa origin, unlike yung previous problems natin kung puro less than, nakaka-start tayo sa origin at yung origin is a feasible solution, basic solution. Okay? So yan yung isa sa mga problem. So now, given this problem that we can see graphically as we solve this model, okay, important lang alam natin yung optimal solution para ma-check natin yung solution natin later. Okay, so let's leave this graphical approach. It only tells us that we couldn't start with the origin. Okay, and ito na yung ginawa natin kanina. We converted it to standard form. Ito na yung standard form na sinulat ko. Okay, one variable in excess should be assumed to be 0. Okay, just ask your questions pag may question kayo. And then, I will now introduce you. This is actually your step 1 for the simplex steps. Step 1, and this is your step 2. Okay, one variable to 0. Ang problema, hindi ko ngayon alam kung paano ko kukunin tong initial solution. Of course, pinakita ko na sa inyo. By trial and error, you should find an initial solution. But we don't want to do that. Diba? Kasi matagal yan eh. If you have to solve systems of equations and figure out if the remaining variables are feasible or infeasible, that would take a long time. So ngayon, dito tayo mas-stop. Okay? Yung standard form, okay pa tayo. We can get the standard form. But the things sa step 2, if we do not want to do trial and error, then stop na tayo dito. Hindi na tayo makapag-proceed. Therefore, introduce ko na sa inyo yung tinatawag nating artificial variable technique in order to address this problem over here. Okay? So what is the artificial variable technique? Dalawang method under this technique. Dalawang method ang gumagamit ng artificial variables. The first one is the big M technique. And the second one is the two-phase technique or method. Okay, both of these methods, big M and two-phase, will use artificial variables in the model. It will introduce artificial variables in the model. But before we go to the two techniques, big M and two-phase, let us first define and understand what an artificial variable is. It's denoted by R, okay? And these are non-negative variables that we add only to greater than equal to and equal to constraints. Pag less than yung constraint ng model, hindi natin kailangan dagdagan ng artificial. Slack variables will do. Remember, the sign of slack variables, balik lang tayo, the sign of slack variables plus S1 plus S2 plus S3. Pag less than equal to yung constraint, hindi na kailangan dagdagan ng non-negative artificial variables na may positive sign. Kasi meron ka namang slack na may positive sign eh. Okay? Ang problema mo is yung greater than constraint. Kasi pag greater than constraint, ang dinadagdag mo dyan, ang ginagawa mo dyan is nagsasubtract ka ng surplus variable, negative yung sign. So therefore, kailangan mo ngayon magdagdag dyan ng artificial variable. Okay? So, ito yung gagawin natin sa artificial variable technique. Sa greater than equal to constraint, maglalagay ka ng surplus, okay? Para maging equal yung left side at saka yung right side. Tapos magdadagdag ka ng artificial variable. Okay, R1. Okay, for every greater than or every equal to constraint, magdadagdag ka ng isang R. So magdadagdag ka. Sa second constraint na less than, hindi mo kailangan kasi may plus S2 ka na eh. May slack variable ka na. Sa third constraint, okay, kailangan mo magdagdag ng artificial variable at tatawagin natin yan ng R2 para magkaroon ka ng isang positive na new variable. And again, I hope that you observe and that you notice that what we're trying to do is that we're trying to mimic what happens in a model if all the constraints are less than. Kung maalala nyo kanina, just one slide ago, lahat ng constraint less than, nagdagdag tayo ng tatlong slack na puro positive ang coefficient plus S1 plus S2 plus S3. Pag isa dyan naging greater than, mawawala yung plus, kaya kailangan mo maglagay ng artificial variable. Pag naging equal to, wala ring slack variable, kaya naglalagay ka ng artificial. So in other words, if you can see the connection, the artificial variable is like an artificial slack variable. Okay? Since wala kang slack variable sa greater than constraint at saka sa equal to constraint, sa dalawang to, wala kang slack variable dyan eh. Okay? Ang ginagawa ng artificial variable is parang siya na yung nagtatake ng place ng slack variable if these constraints were less than sana. Okay? And again, bakit kailangan may slack variable? Bakit kailangan may artificial slack variable? Kasi it is the only way by which we are able to start at the origin. It is the only way by which we can have an initial basic feasible solution that starts at the origin. Pero that origin is not a true origin. It's an artificially created origin just for the purpose of allowing us to start the simplex process, the simplex search process. Okay? Again, the origin that we will start with by adding artificial variables into greater than and equal to constraints is just an artificially created origin just so that we can proceed with the simplex procedure conveniently. Okay? The word there is convenience, para mabilis maghanap ng initial solution at makaproceed na tayo sa remaining steps ng simplex method. Okay? So the simplex method will not change even if you use the artificial variable technique. It will remain the same with some minor adjustments lang. Okay? Kaya very important that you still understand yung simplex procedure as you applied it in solving all the less than constraints last meeting. Pag naintindihan yung simplex doon, this is gonna be easy. May konting adjustments lang. Okay? So again, nagdagdag tayo ng artificial variable sa first constraint at sa third constraint para magkaroon tayo ng parang tatlong slack variable na puro positive yung sign. That way, I now increase, kung mapapansin niyo, by adding R1 and R2 to my system of equations, mapapansin niyo that your number of variables now becomes 6. You now have 6 variables in your system, and that includes R1 and R2. And you have 3 constraints. So therefore, the difference is 3 variables excess, 6 minus 3. And now you have to assume 3 variables to 0 as your initial solution. So napakadali. So, dahil 3 variables na yung kailangan maging 0, pwede na ngayon ako mag-start sa x1, x2 equals 0, which is the artificial origin that is created. Okay? I can now start with x1, x2, 0 at kailangan ko pa mag-identify ng isang variable na isi-0 ko. So, look at this. Look at this standard form with artificial variables. Tingnan nyo to. Okay. Now that I can start with x1, x2, 0, dalawang variables yan, I need a third variable to be 0 para maging basic ang solution ko. I have S1, R1, S2, R2 to choose from. Alin dyan ang isi-0 ko? S1. Okay, Kyle is asking S1. That answer is correct, no? It should be S1. Kasi if you mistakenly choose R1 to be 0, then what happens is if X1, X2, and R1 are 0, then in the first constraint, first equation, S1 becomes negative 12. Tama? Na-solve mo siya agad. Mabilis i-solve. S1 equals negative 12. Pero infeasible. You cannot start with an infeasible solution. So therefore, the variable that has a negative coefficient, okay, yun yung dapat nating i-0 para we will start with a feasible basic solution. So ang dapat nating i-0 dito is x1, x2, and s1. So that ang bilis na i-solve yung remainder, di ba? R1 is 12, bapasahin mo na lang. R1 is 12, x1, x2 are 0, so s2 is 36, R2 is 24. And that is feasible kasi positive lahat eh. So you now have a feasible basic starting point. Okay? At the origin, at the artificially created origin. That's the effect of R1 and R2. It helps us solve this problem. Okay? It helps us solve our inability to use the origin as our starting point. So by defining R1 and R2 and putting them in the model, you are now able to start at the origin. Okay? So now, we still have to contend with this one. Okay? Hindi pa nasosolve ng artificial variable ito. Kasi ang mangyayari dyan, so let me bring you here. Again, artificial variables are fake. Artificial lang, fake variables that you inject into the system to accomplish the purpose of creating an artificial origin. Yun lang ang purpose niya, to create this. Therefore, if it is artificial and the origin is artificially created, then in the end, when you get to the optimal solution, dapat yung mga R's mo, since they are meaningless, they have no meaning. Hindi naman sila decision variable. They're meaningless. They're neither slack nor surplus. Okay pa yung slack and surplus, ma-interpret mo sila eh. Okay? But since they're meaningless, their values at optimum should all become 0. In other words, they must be non-basic at optimum. Dapat non-basic variable sila at the optimal point or at the optimal solution. 0 sila dapat. If any one of them is not equal to 0, then we conclude that the model has no feasible solution. Pag kunyari at optimal tableau, nakita nyo R is equal to 5. May value pa siya. Okay? Pero optimal na. Wala ka nang magawang entering variable, wala ka nang leaving variable. Optimal na siya. Pero may value yung R. Then, that suggests that the model that you're solving has no feasible solution. Kasi imposibleng magka-value ang R because it does not have any meaning. Okay? And therefore, dapat 0 siya at optimum. Dapat. Okay? So, under artificial variable technique, I told you, there are two approaches, no? There are two methods that make use of artificial variables. The first one is the Big M technique. So, same procedure, class. Wala tayong babaguhin doon sa simplex method na natutunan natin from the previous lecture that you used to solve yung model with all less than or equal to constraints. Same procedure. Okay, step 1 is still the standard form. As you can see, this is the standard form with the artificial variables. So I'm discussing Big M na ngayon. Ang Big M, ang impact lang ng Big M is dito sa objective function. Okay? Ang impact ng Big M is sa objective function. Yung constraints, as you can see, is the same. Okay, so this is step 1. Okay, so big M, step 1. And then this is step 2. Identifying initial basic feasible solution. So step 2, 3 variables to 0. So alam na natin kung ano yan. Non-basic yung 0. Non-basic, x1 equal to 0, x2 equal to 0. And then sabi natin kanina, S1, yung may negative coefficient, no? Sabi ni Kyle, S1 is equal to 0. Okay? So if these 3 variables are 0, as indicated here, yung excess variables, then you have a basic solution already. So you now have to solve for the remaining 3 variables, yung basic variables natin, which are R1 equal to 12. Then S2 from equation 2 equal to 36. And then R2 is equal to 24. Okay? So therefore, you now have your initial solution that is both basic and feasible. Okay? So this is now your initial basic feasible solution. So now, step 3 na tayo. Okay? We go to step 3. Based on what you've learned, anong step 3? You now reflect the coefficients of the model into the simplex tableau. So if I were to do this, iteration 1, no? Let's say, iteration 1. Papakita ko lang sa inyo kung bakit hindi siya straightforward, no? Bakit kailangan ng big M. Okay, so iteration 1, if I were to do step 3, ililipat ko na ngayon, basis, meaning basic variable column yan, and then list down all the variables here, x1, x2, s1. I'm listing it down by sequence, no? Pero you can have your own order. It's up to you, basta just be consistent. R1, S2, and then R2, and then your solution right-hand side values. So this is now your simplex tableau. The first row is your Z equation. Okay, if you listen to the lecture, simplex just puts the system of equations from the objective down to all the constraints. It just puts everything in a table. But in the table like this, each row just represents an equation. Okay, each row is an equation. Remember that. Each row is an algebraic equation. Okay, so therefore, you have what you put here in this column are all the basic variables in the current iteration. Since the starting solution was specified to be yung basic variables natin are R1, S2, and R2. That is what you will see here. R1, S2, and R2. That is what you will see here under the basis or basic variable column. Okay, so first row will be your Z. The second row will be your basic variable in the second row. The third row will be the basic variable in your second constraint. And then the last row will be the basic variable in your last constraint. Okay, so now, I will transfer the coefficients. So tingnan natin. Tingnan natin yung x1, 2 lahat yan. Okay, from left, you will see all the coefficients and then I'm just transferring them. 1, 9, 3. And then, careful lang, coefficient ni S1 is negative 1 sa first constraint. Pero sa second and third constraint, walang S1. So 0 yung coefficient. And then if you look at R1, sa first constraint, 1 ang coefficient. Sa second and third constraint, walang coefficient, walang R1. And then S2 will only appear in the second constraint. So therefore, sa first constraint, 0. Second constraint, coefficient niya is 1. Third constraint, 0. And then R2 will only appear in the last constraint. Therefore, 1 yung coefficient na sa last constraint. And then, the right-hand side will be 12, 36, and 24. So far, we have satisfied 2 requirements of the simplex tableau. The first requirement is that the basic variables, at ito yung tatlo, no? X1, X2, S1, if you look here, yan yung non-basic variables natin sa iteration 1. And then R1, S2, R2 are the basic variables. These are the basic variables. Okay? So sabi sa requirement number 2, the constraint coefficients. Constraints, nasa constraints tayo ng basic variables. Ito yung basic variables. Ito yung constraints. Okay? So you will see that the constraint coefficients of the basic variables form an identity matrix. So that's satisfied. Okay? That requirement is satisfied. Itong number 2. Next, number 3. The values of z, kalimutan muna natin yung z. Ito muna. The values of all the basic variables can be read on the solution column. So kung titingnan natin, alam natin sa initial solution natin that we have 3 basic variables, and after solving by inspection, alam natin ang value ng R1 is 12, S2 is 36, R2 is 24. When we transfer to the tableau, you will see that R1 is 12, S2 is 36, R2 is 24. Meaning, okay, nababasa natin agad, no? So, ito. The values of all the basic variables can be read on the solution column. So, kung ano yung value dito, yun din ang makikita natin sa solution column. So, last, we need to satisfy this first one. The coefficients of the basic variables in the 0 are all 0. However, if I transfer directly, this is -6, this is -4, the rest are all 0, right? Tama ba? Z minus 6x1 minus 4x2, okay? 0 na lahat yan. And then this one is 0. Okay? So, ang ginagawa ngayon ng Big M technique, tanggalin ko muna to ha. Tanggalin ko muna to. Okay? Ang ginagawa ngayon ng Big M technique, hindi kasi natin pwedeng pabayaan na ganyan lang yung objective. Remember, nag-introduce tayo ng dalawang bagong variables. Okay? Nag-introduce tayo ng dalawang bagong variables. And sabi natin, dapat nagre-reflect yung mga bagong variables natin doon sa objective function. Okay? Yung S1 and S2 kasi, balancing variables lang yan. Para mag-equal lang yung left side at right side. Okay, so therefore, hindi na natin ilalagay sa objective function yon. Pero yung R1 and R2, okay, kailangan maging 0 yan eh. Okay, sabi natin, by definition, these variables are meaningless. Therefore, at optimum, they have to be 0. So therefore, nagkaroon ng Big M technique in order to have a way of ensuring that at optimum, R1 and R2 and all of the R's that you add to your model will become 0. And this is how it's done. So with the Big M technique, magdadagdag tayo or magbabawas tayo sa untranspose objective function. Okay? So, dali sana ba nakalagay yun? Here. Since the artificial variables have to be 0 at optimum, the objective function, this is the key word. Ito lang yung tandaan nyo. Penalty. Okay? Yung R is actually dapat ma-penalize siya. So the objective function has to be penalized. Okay? To make sure that the R's become 0 at optimum. Kailangan ma-penalize. So how do we penalize? For a minimization objective, okay, pag minimization, minimize Z, you want Z to be as low as possible. Tama? So therefore, if you're, again, untranspose, importante to ha, untranspose muna para mas mabilis maintindihan. Untranspose objective function. So yung untranspose objective function natin is 6x1 plus 4x2. Okay? M is a very big number. It's a constant or it's a coefficient. Okay, it's not a variable. M is not a variable. It is a number, a very big number. You can think of it as millions. Okay, very big number. So therefore, since you want to minimize z, and z equation is computed as 6x, z is computed as 6x1 plus 4x2, what we will do is we will penalize this objective function to make sure that the r's will be forced to become 0. So the only way to do that is, since I introduced two artificial variables R1 and R2, I need to add summation of MRI or MR1 plus MR2 into my objective function, subject to the constraints. Okay, the constraints that were given here. Ito yung mga constraints. Ito yung, yan pa rin yung mga constraints natin. Pero yung objective function, instead of leaving it to do for big M technique, is to untranspose it. Okay, balik tayo sa original form niya, z equals 6x1 plus 4x2. And then pag minimization, magdagdag tayo ng MR1. Take note, M is a big number. Okay? Pag hindi mo siniro itong R, the only way na ma-minimize mo yung Z is if R1 and R2 are 0. Because if R1 and R2 are not 0, then whatever their values are, okay, whatever their values are, when you multiply them by a very, very big number or coefficient, then the result of MR1 and MR2 or MR2 will still be big. So parang isipin nyo na lang, even if R1 in the search for the optimal solution, no, even if R1 is just 0.1, ang value ng R1 is just 0.1. But if your M is 1 billion, which is a very big coefficient or constant, then 1 billion times 0.1 is still 100 million. Diba? And if you add 100 million to your objective and you're minimizing, then that's penalizing it. Tama? Kasi you want z to be as low as possible, and then here you are, you're adding a very big number. Okay? Kaya, penalty ang treatment ng M times R1 at saka M times R2. They are treated as penalties. Kasi, pag hindi mo tinanggal yan, yung penalty na yan, hindi ka makakapag-minimize for sure. Okay? That's why we add pagka-minimization. Sa untransposed, we add pagka-minimization to penalize your objective function and to force the simplex procedure into making all the r's 0. Kasi kung tatlo yung artificial variable nyo, may plus MR3 ka pa dyan. So kailangan lahat ng r's maging 0 at the optimal solution para ma-minimize natin yung value. Otherwise, z value would be very, very big kapag may value yung R1, R2, or R3. Okay? And in the same token, if it's a maximization objective, so let's say it's max z equals 6x1 plus 4x2. What we do if we have artificial variables in the constraints is we now penalize the maximization objective by subtracting m times the artificial variables that you added. So kung dalawang artificial variable dinagdag mo, dalawang minus. And again, the logic is the same. If you want to maximize your z, you want 6x1 plus 4x2 to be as high as possible. But you cannot achieve that maximum z if R1 and R2 are not forced to be 0 in the search process, okay, in the solution process. Pag hindi nag-0 yan, and m is a big number, then you will be subtracting a big number from your objective, which will reduce your z instead of maximizing it. Okay? Kaya, kapag maximization, ang penalty would be minus MR1, minus MR2, and so on. Kapag minimization, ang penalty will be to add MR1 plus MR2 plus MR3, and so on. Okay? So, do you now understand the concept of penalizing? And again, the purpose of penalizing is in order to achieve this, to make all the r's 0 kasi they have no meaning. Dapat talaga 0 sila sa optimum. So you're now finding a way to make sure that all the r's are forced to become 0 at optimum. Okay? Para magkaroon ka ng optimal solution. Otherwise, you won't have an optimal solution. So for the big M technique, okay, artificial variable big M technique, ang magbabago lang is doon sa standard form, okay, sa standard form, magdadagdag ka ng artificial variable sa greater than and equal to constraint. Sa constraint, yan lang yung magbabago. May dagdag na artificial variables. Okay? So objective naman, depending on the objective, kung min or max, i-untranspose mo to, tapos sasubtract ka ng MR1, MR2 pag maximization. Pag minimization, mag-add ka ng MR1, MR2, and so on. Yun lang yung magbabago sa big M. And then the rest is just syntax. Okay, so now, if that is clear, we can now focus at this. Na ano medyo nag-overlap. Inayos ko na to pero after saving, it goes back to this format na nag-overlap siya with the statement. So anyway, minimize z, untranspose so equal to 6x1 plus 4x2 plus, since it's minimization, you add MR1 plus MR2. So now, going back to our third step, pag nagawa na natin ito, then pwede na nating kunin yung standard form nito. Ang standard form nito would now be z minus 6x1 minus 4x2. Itatranspose ko na ulit to convert it to standard form. Minus MR1 minus MR2 equal to 0. So this is now your standard form. Minimize z equals 6x1 minus 4x2. So now, I can transfer, since na-transfer ko na itong constraint, okay, dito sa tableau, sa right side, then I will now transfer my objective function with the M to the tableau. Okay? And I will now have negative 6, negative 4, 0, walang S1. Tapos R1 is negative M, S2 is 0, R2 is negative M, and then 0 itong solution. Problem, kasi sabi rito, at all times, the coefficients of the basic variables in the 0 are all 0. Ito yung basic, Ito yung basic variables. Dapat daw itong tatlong to, dapat 0 lahat yan. So, na-violate natin ngayon itong first requirement ng simplex tableau. Na-violate natin. Okay? So, para zero ito, ang kailangan daw is able to express dito sa objective function, itong R1 tsaka R2 in standard form. R2, dyan sa standard form ng objective function. Dapat wala yan para maging 0. Okay, naging unstable yata ako. So anyway, ulitin ko. If you look at this standard form of the objective function, dapat mawala tong R1 and R2 dyan para maging 0. Kasi ang requirement natin, dapat lahat ng coefficient 0. Okay, ito yun. Dapat 0 lahat. Okay? So para maging 0 yan, dapat mawala yan dyan sa standard form ng objective function. So para mawala yan dyan, we can now try to solve for R1 and R2 in terms of, ang pwede magkaroon ng coefficient kasi sa 0 is x1, x2, and s1. Yung tatlong variables na to, ito, x1, x2, and s1. Pwedeng magkaroon ng coefficient yan. So what we can do is to solve for R1 and R2 in terms of x1, x2, and s1. Para matanggal siya dito sa constraint na to, or sa objective function. Since R1 and R2 lang naman yung kailangan natin tanggalin, okay, we can now use this. We can use this. Take note that all of these are equations, di ba? So, I can actually solve for R1 from equation number 1. From equation number 1, I can solve for R1 in terms of x1, x2, and s1, which are the three non-basic variables. I can solve for R2 in terms of X1 and X2, which are also non-basic variables. So by solving for R1 and R2, R1 is 12 minus 2X1 minus X2 plus S1, and R2 is equal to 24 from equation 3, 24 minus 2X1 minus 3X2. By doing that and substituting it here, okay, take note that this is your standard form, the one that I wrote in the previous slide, standard form of your Z equation. And since it does not satisfy the first tableau requirement, we now have to do this one. Okay, kung kita nyo, yung R1, this one, ito yung R2. Saan ko nakuha yung nasa parenthesis? Yung R1, kinuha ko lang yan from constraint 1, from here. Okay, this is constraint number 1, constraint number 2, constraint number 3. So, yung R1, 12 minus 2x1 minus x2 minus plus s1 from equation 1. Yung R2 naman, 24 minus 2x1 minus the x2, okay, from equation 3. So once sinubstitute ko, nireplace ko yung R1 and R2 by those expressions, you will see that when I simplify, okay, when I simplify the objective, I have gotten rid of all the basic variables, R1, S2, and R2. Wala na kayong makikitang R1, S2, and R2 sa objective function. Okay? And this is just algebra, pero kailangan careful kayo kasi marami nagkakamali dito sa simplification. So take note that to simplify, ito yung simplified na objective function eh. Okay? In standard form. This is the simplified. Okay. So from this step where you substitute R1 and R2 into the objective function standard form, you need to be able to combine all the x1s together, all the x2s, all the s1s together. And then the constant you need to put on the right side. So take note, sample lang, m is a very big number, it's just a constant, no? So if you have x1, ang sabi dito, you have minus 6x1, okay, this one, gulugan ko, minus 6x1, and then you have minus 2x1 here times negative m. Since m is a constant, kunyari 1 million yan, so negative 2 times negative 1 million will be positive 2 million. Kaya parang plus 2m yan. 2m times x1. 2m is the coefficient, x1 is the variable. So tapos dito, meron ka rin negative 2x1 times negative m. So another plus 2m, okay, another plus 2m times x1. So makikita natin, you now have plus 2m x1 plus 2m x1 ulit dito. So total of plus 4m times x1 na. Kaso may negative 6 ka pa na coefficient ng x1 dito. Kaya ang final mo is yung coefficient ng x1 mo will be positive 4m tapos minus 6. Pinactor out yung x1. So plus 4m minus 6 times x1. Okay? Do the same for x2. May negative 4 ka na coefficient dito, negative 4x2. Tapos meron kang negative 1 times negative m, so that's positive m times x2. Then meron kang negative, ito yung positive m, no? Tapos meron kang negative 3m times negative 1, so that's positive 3m times x2. Since may positive mx2 ka dito, ito, mx2 plus 3m, so that's 4m x2, tapos minus 4 times x2, kaya 4m minus 4 times x2 quantity. Okay? Yan lang yung coefficient kayo ng x2, 4m minus 4. And then yung s1, ito lang yun naman yun, isa lang siya, times negative m, kaya minus m s1. Okay? And then, the rest, yung, saan na ba yun? 12, itong 12. 12 times negative m, tsaka 24 times negative m. So magiging negative 36m nasa left side. Since negative 36m is a constant, you have to transfer it to the right side. Kaya naging positive 36m yung right side. So now that you have simplified the z equation after penalizing it, okay, after penalizing it with the m, kaya naging big M yung tawag. Okay? Pag na-penalize mo na, lipat na natin ngayon dito sa table na to. Okay? We can now transfer. And once we transfer, you will see that for x1 is 4m minus 6. For x2 is 4m minus 4. For S1, it's negative m. For R1, since they are basic variables, wala na. Zero na lahat yan. So now we have satisfied this first requirement. Yan. Na-satisfy na natin ito. So lahat ng requirements ng simplex tableau, identity matrix, tapos zero lahat na basic variables sa objective function row. Tapos v double, no? So pag dilipat natin, this is 36m. So all of these values of z and the basic variables are readable in the solution column. So yan yung tatlong requirements, okay, ng simplex tableau in any iteration. So since they're already satisfied, then yan na yung big M technique. Nag-introduce ka lang talaga ng M doon sa objective function as a means of penalizing your objective to force, okay? So dalawang objective, penalizing Z to force the procedure to make R1 and R2, all the R's, become zero at optimum. That's the purpose of introducing or injecting M into the LP model. So you inject R in artificial variables into your constraints, and you inject M and R into your objective function. That's the big M method. And once you reach iteration 3, okay, so ang pinaka-standard form na ng LP model, step 1, na-revise na natin, ito na yung standard form. Okay? And then of course, the solutions, the initial solution, we have already obtained kanina. Okay? So step 3, ito na yung table. So ang gagawin nyo na lang dito is follow the rules of optimality doon sa tinuro ko last meeting sa inyo. Okay? Sa recorded lecture. So ang rule natin, this time, this is a minimization problem. Okay? So minimization, we have to check the coefficients of the non-basic variables in the current iteration. Coefficients of the NBVs in the zero. Dito lang tayo titingin. Dito lang. For optimality, it's just the objective function that we have to look into. Okay? So sabi natin, pag minimization, basta't may positive pa na coefficient, hindi pa optimal yan. Pag isa lang yung positive, edi yun na yung entering variable mo. Pero kapag 2 or more yung nag-positive na coefficient, then lahat ng positive qualifies as an entering variable. You can choose any actually. Okay, basta positive. So tingnan natin ito. Itong tatlong non-basic variables, x1, x2, s1. Alin dyan ang positive? Class, alin dyan ang positive? Quickly. X1 and X2 na coefficient. Okay? X1 and X2. Ang S3, ang S1, negative na yan. So don't touch that. Okay? Optimal na yan. Okay na yan. Pero ang X1 and X2, positive pa eh. So therefore, yan yung dalawang candidates natin for entering variable. And both of them, again, let me remind everyone, for as long as positive yung coefficient, they qualify. Pwede nyo siyang piliin as entering variable. So some may choose X1, others may choose X2. Both are correct. Okay? It's just that if you choose different variables, kung pinili mo X1, your next iteration will be different, obviously. Kasi ang makikita natin sa basic variable column will be X1 here. Papasok yung X1 dito sa column na to. Okay? Sa basis column. Papasok dyan. Pag pinili mo X2, ang X2 naman ang papasok dyan. So magkakaiba yung iterations natin. Although both will end up with the same optimal solution eventually. Okay? So now, to avoid having different tableaus, of course, for purpose of checking, no? To avoid having different tableaus among students, we can actually set a rule of thumb. Okay? Since ang hinahanap natin, positive coefficients, piliin na natin yung pinaka-positive. The most positive coefficient. Okay? The most positive coefficient. Although it is not an assurance that if you choose the most positive, that you will end up with fewer iterations, no, to reach optimum. Hindi siya assurance. Okay? But as a rule of thumb, for uniformity sa buong klase, we choose the most positive. Anong pinaka-positive dyan sa x1 and x2? Is it 4m minus 6 or 4m minus 4? Which one is the most positive? X2. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Joaquin. X2. 4m minus 4 is the bigger value compared to 4m minus 6. So 4m minus 4 is the most positive. And therefore, we now choose x2 as our entering variable. Entering variable is equal to x2. And the leaving variable is obtained in similar fashion. So you just get the ratio. Okay, so let me erase. Okay. Okay, so we get the ratio, no? Let's put it here. Wala ng space. Okay, ratio. Again, we get the ratio between the solution column and the pivot column element. So, kukunin natin yung ratio ng 12 at saka 1, 36 at saka 9, 24 at saka 3. So, again, reminder lang, if you see in the entering variable column, itong tinatawag natin pivot column, kapag yung mga elements sa pivot column ay 0 or negative, do not compute the ratio because that variable, kasi corresponding yan eh. Itong 1 corresponds to R1, itong 9 corresponds to S2, itong 3 corresponds to R2. Okay, so if we see that any of these elements are 0 or negative, do not compute the ratio kasi that variable corresponding to it will not qualify as a leading variable. Okay, so only positive numbers, okay, are qualified to become leading variable. So since all of them are positive, we can now get the ratio. 12 divided by 1 is 12. 36 divided by 9 is 4. That's 4. And then 24 divided by 3 is equal to 8. Okay? Okay? So therefore, getting the ratio, regardless of the objective, max or min, you choose the minimum ratio. If the minimum ratio is 4, then this row becomes your pivot row and it becomes your leading variable. Itong row na to. Okay? So if I were to extend this row becomes your leading variable and that is equal to S2, the S2 row. Okay, so your entering variable is x2. I'll encircle it here. Your leaving variable is S2. Okay, so I'll encircle it here. So now, meron ka ng entering and leaving. So just a reminder, entering variable is a variable that's non-basic now. 0 siya. Kaya entering kasi magkakaroon na siya ng value in your next iteration, in iteration 2. So right now, it is 0, but in your next iteration, it will now swap or trade places with the leaving variable. Yung leaving variable naman, may value siya ngayon. It's basic. It's a basic variable now. But in the next iteration, it becomes a non-basic variable. Magiging 0 siya. Kaya ang mangyayari is itong S2. Since it's a leaving variable, you will not see it anymore in the next iteration sa basis column. Instead, what you will see is X2. Magsoswap. Mapupunta ngayon dito yung X2 kasi siya na yung magiging basic. Okay? Next. Since X2 is expected to become basic in the next iteration, iteration 2, then it should have a value. So ngayon, the ratio that we computed is actually the value of the basic variable, the value of the entering variable in the next iteration if S2 is the leaving variable. Okay? So kunyari, pinili natin minimum ratio. Okay? 4 ang minimum ratio. Pinaalis natin si S2, papalit si X2. Ibig sabihin lang ng minimum ratio is that yung value ni X2 in iteration 2 is equal to 4. Okay? Yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Makikita natin yan when we iterate sa susunod. Okay? Now, why do we choose the minimum ratio again? We choose the, pagka pinili natin yung hindi minimum ratio. Kunyari, nagkamali tayo. Ginawa nating leaving variable yung R1. R1 is 12 ngayon eh. Pag ginawa natin siyang leaving variable, magiging 0 siya sa susunod na iteration. Si X2, magiging positive. Okay? So, since the ratio is 12, okay, the ratio is 12, ang ibig sabihin nun, X2 becomes 12 in the next iteration. Whereas R1, if pinili natin tong 12, pag nagkamali tayo at hindi natin pinili yung minimum, pinili natin yung 12. Ibig sabihin, sa next iteration, R1 yung leaving. So therefore, magiging 0 si R1. Pero si X2, 12 ang value niya sa next iteration. Look at what will happen. Tingnan nyo to. If, so ang mangyayari, X1 mo, sa next iteration X2 magiging basic. So X2 is 12. R1 mo, magiging non-basic, magiging 0 siya. Ang X1 tsaka S1, 0 pa rin. Walang nangyari dito sa X1 at tsaka sa S1. Non-basic pa rin sila. Ang X2 lang ang naging basic. So X1 is 0 pa rin, S1 is 0 pa rin. Okay? Ang basic natin ngayon would now be X2, tapos R1 hindi na siya basic, X2, S2, and R2. Okay? So tingnan natin tong equations na to. X1, X2, S1, and R1. Okay, tingnan nyo to. If X1 is 12, 2 times 12 is 24. I'm here, I'm looking at this one. If X1 is 12, ito yun, 12. In the next iteration, 2 times 12 is 24. If X2 pala yung 12, sorry. X1 is 0. Okay, ito yun. X1 is 0. So X1 is 0, X2 is 12. Okay, X2 is 12. Then S1 is 0 pa rin, R1 is 0. So therefore, tama, di ba? 12 is equal to 12. Pero anong mangyayari sa second? If X1 is 0, X1 is 0, X0 to, di ba? X2 is 12. What is 9 times 12? That's 108, right? 9 times 12 is 108. What happens to S2 in the next iteration? Para maging equal to 36. If X1 is 0 in the next iteration and X2 is 12 in the next iteration, substitute nyo sa second equation, then para maging equal sa 36 yan, your S2 should be equal to negative, kasi 108 minus, it should be negative 72. Tama? Para maging 36 yung left side, 36 yung right side. You get me? And if X1 is 0, X2 is 12, 3 times 12, 36. R2 has to be equal to negative 12 para masatisfy mo yung third constraint. So ito yung sinasabi ko. If you do not choose the minimum ratio, which is 4 in this example, if you do not choose that, and you chose the other ratios na hindi minimum, what happens is when you iterate and you go to iteration 2, the next iteration, your solution column becomes infeasible. May at least isang variable dyan na magne-negative. And therefore, hindi ka na makaka-proceed with the simplex iteration kasi invisible na yung solution mo. Okay? So, yun yung nagiging consequence. That's why we choose the minimum ratio. By choosing the minimum ratio, we should allow S2 to leave and X2 to enter. Wherein X2 can take the value of 4 in the next iteration. Pag sinubstitute nyo ngayon X2, 4 dito sa model na to, then, ang mangyayari dyan is lahat ng mga remaining variables will become feasible, magiging positive. Okay? So we now have set up this. Na-set up na natin to. Magulo lang yung nasa right side, pero ito na yung clean sheet. Okay, ito yung clean sheet. Ang entering variable natin is this one. Right? So now, all you have to do is follow your step. Since step 4 is checking for optimality, then follow your step 5. Step 5 is choosing entering variable, choosing entering and leaving, and then step 6 is getting the next iteration using Gauss-Jordan elimination. So, ang gagawin nyo lang, the simplex is to divide, ito na yung pivot column, itong entering variable, itong leaving variable, that's your pivot row. Itong 9 is your pivot element. So, to move to the next iteration, iteration 2, all you have to do is to divide the pivot row by the pivot element. Divide everything by 9. You now have to make this 1. Okay? So again, since sabi ko sa inyo kanina, each row is an equation. Every row in the table is just an equation. Transfer lang natin sa table yung equation. So, if I divide the whole equation by a number, by a constant, then it means that I'm not changing the sense of the equation. Di ba? Pag nag-multiply ako by a constant or nag-divide ako by a constant, I'm not changing the equation. It's still the same equation. So, I can divide by 9. All right? But I have to divide it to every element or coefficient. And add it or subtract it to another row by subtraction. Again, if I multiply one equation by a constant and I add the result or I subtract the result from another equation in the system, I am not changing the system of equations kasi that's what we are doing, di ba, sa elimination by addition and subtraction solve for variables. Di ba? Yun ang ginagawa natin, di ba? Elimination by addition or elimination by subtraction. So, kinukuha natin yung multiple, minumultiply natin, then sinasubtract natin or ina-add natin to make it 0. Di ba? To solve for the other variable. So, we're not changing the system of equations. So, sa Gauss-Jordan, yan lang yung gagawin natin. So, if you do that, divide everything by 9, you will arrive at this. Magiging 1 ito. And then everything, ito, magiging 2 over 9 to, magiging 0, 0, ito magiging 1 over 9, magiging 4. Kaya, makita natin, 2 over 9, 1 over 9, 4. And then, you now have to make sure, para ma-maintain natin yung identity matrix, kailangan maging 0 to, maging 0 to, maging 0 to. Itong tatlo. Okay, take note that in iteration 2, your basic variables now are x2, basic yan, r1, basic pa rin yan. Okay, ito yung basic eh. R1, x2, and r2. Basic ito. So, the rest are non-basic. Ako, nililabel ko yan, no, pag nagsa-start pa lang yung mga estudyante para alam nila kung ano yung hahanapin. Okay, non-basic. So, alam natin sa rules ng requirements ng simplex tableau, dapat lahat ng basic variables, x2, r1, and r2, dapat 0 yan. Okay? Dapat 0 yan. And that is why, kapag nagawa na natin 1 ito, from the previous step, nagawa na natin 1 ito by dividing everything by 9, we have to make all of this above it and below the 1 to be 0. Kasi sa constraint, kailangan din nating masatisfy yung identity matrix. In this order, R1 muna. Saan yung R1? Ito, this is R1. So you now have your 1, 0, 0. Then X2, itong X2 column, you now have your 0, 1, 0. And then your R2, you now have your R2 column 0, 0, 1. So you will see that the requirement of 0, 0, 0 in the objective function and the identity matrix in the constraints are now satisfied only because you made this and this and this to be 0. Kaya kapag ka na-divide nyo na to by 9, naging 1 na yan, ang next goal nyo is above it and below it maging 0 para masatisfy nyo itong requirement, itong second requirement na identity matrix at itong first requirement na 0 lahat ng coefficient ng basic variables. Okay, yan yung purpose why we're doing that. Kasi we need to satisfy the requirement. Okay? And then, once na zero out nyo na yan by doing Gauss-Jordan, you will now be able to derive the contents of your table. Okay? So, you know already, I'll present you with the iteration 3, one row lang, no, just to review you. So, iteration 3, so again, entering variable, you choose it from the non-basic. Dito sa mga non-basic, dyan kayo pipili. Kasi yan lang naman ang may coefficient eh. Pag negative na, okay na. So, okay na to kasi negative na to eh. Okay na rin ito kasi negative na yung 4m. Okay? So, ang natitira na lang na positive is itong x1. Kaya, automatically, you choose the most positive. This one becomes your entering variable. Okay? And, you get the ratio, again, between this one, ratio between 8 and 16 over 9, that would give you 9 halves, no? 72 over 16, or that is equal to 9 over 2. Okay, and then ratio between 4 and 2 over 9, that would give you 36 over 2, that's 18. And then ratio between 12 and 4/3, that will give you 36 over 4 or 9. So ratio nito at saka ito. Okay? So again, minimum ratio pipiliin natin, we will choose this one as our leaving variable. So you have to rejoice kapag ka nagli-leaving variable yung R1 nyo or R2 nyo or R3 nyo. Basta pag R yung nagli-leave, nagiging non-basic, yun yung goal natin eh, di ba? At optimum, dapat lahat ng R umalis from that basic column. Dapat mawala siya dyan sa basic column, lahat ng R. Pag nawala na dyan lahat ng R sa basic column, then you're closer to optimum. We're closer to the optimal solution. Okay? So since we have the entering variable as x1 and the leaving variable as x2, so we can now set up the third iteration. Those who have to go, isa-set up ko lang ito and then I will just derive one row and then kayo na magtuloy. We know the optimal solution anyway. I'll tell you. From the graphical, alam naman natin eh. Okay, so this is how it will look. Your basis column, the first row is Z, and then ang R1 mapapalitan ng X1. Magsaswap lang si X1 tsaka si R1. So si X1 na magiging basic, mawawala si R1, then X2, and then R2. Okay? Alright, and then ano gagawin natin? Pivot row is this one. Pivot column is this one. So therefore, the pivot element is 16 over 9. So ibig sabihin, ito, kailangan natin gawing 1. We have to divide the whole pivot row by 16 over 9 or multiply it by 9 over 16. So dividing this by 16 over 9 or multiplying by 9 over 16 will give you 1. Magiging 1 na yan. Okay, and then the rest, you multiply by 9 over 16 din. So 0, negative 9 over 16, Okay? And then what else? 9 over 16. Okay? So multiply by 9 over 16, you'll have negative 1 over 16, 0, and then 9 halves. So as we said, in iteration 2, yung, yung minimum ratio, which is 9 halves, becomes the value of your entering variable in the next iteration. Since x1 is the entering variable, you will see that x1 here is equal to 9 over 2. Okay? So makikita mo yan sa next iteration. And then, just one thing, label nyo. Ano ba yung basic variables? Ito yung basic, itong tatlo, x1, x2, r2. So these two are basic variables. R2 is also basic. And these three are non-basic. So alam na natin na ang basic variables as a matter of requirement dapat identity matrix. So x1, x2 dapat maging 0 to. Tapos sa objective function row dapat 0 din ito. Yung tatlong basic variable dapat 0 yan. Tapos yung x2 dapat 0, 0, 0, 1, 0 to satisfy the identity matrix requirement. Tapos ito dapat 0, 0, 1. That much we know. Okay? So therefore, let's just try out the x2 row. Kailangan kong gawing 0 to eh. Okay? Itong 2 over 9. Okay? So anong i-multiply ko sa 1 para kapag in-add ko dyan, maging 0. So just the negative of 2 over 9, di ba? Yan yung ni-lecture ko last time. Multiply this whole row, okay, this whole row of x1, multiply mo by negative 2 over 9. So let's do that. Negative 2 over 9, 0. Tapos negative becomes positive, di ba? Magka-cancel yun. So magiging 1/8. So if you multiply negative 9 over 16 by negative 2 over 9, it becomes positive 1/8. And then this one becomes negative 1/8. Multiply by negative 2 over 9. So that becomes positive 1 over 72. Check nyo na lang kung tama yung ginagawa ko. Then 0. And then multiply by negative 2 over 9. That becomes negative 1. Okay? And then add the x2 row. The x2 row is 2 over 9. 1, 0, 0, 1 over 9, 0, and 4. Okay, adding them, you'll have 0, 1, 1 over 8, negative 1, 8. This becomes 8 plus 1, 9 over 72. So 1 over 8, 0, and 3. So it means that I can now fill this in. 0, tama, di ba? 0, 1, then 1, 8, negative 1, 8, 1, 8, then 0, then 3. Okay? So again, it's the same na once you reach the iteration stage, getting the entering and the leaving variable and then iterating using Gauss-Jordan to comply with the simplex tableau requirements will now be the same. Whether it's big M, whether it's two-phase, it's the same. It's simplex-based method. Okay? Kaya importante maintindihan yung method muna. Kaya nag-start tayo sa less than equal to lahat. Okay? For practice lang. Okay? And then, you can continue, no? You have to multiply the basis row, which is this one, itong may 1. You have to multiply this by negative 4/3. Okay? Negative 4/3 para pag in-add nyo sa positive 4/3 dyan sa baba, maging 0. Okay? So, ganun din. So, you can just continue. So 36 over 48 is 3/4, negative 3/4. So times negative 4, positive 4 over 48, that's 112, 0. And then times negative 4/3, negative 36 over 6, so that's negative 6. Then you add the last row. Gawin ko na lang ito, no, para isa na lang yung gagawin nyo. Okay, so add. You have 0, 0, 3/4, negative 3/4, negative 4 plus 1, negative 3, negative 1/4, 1, and 6. Okay, so you just put it here. Kopya lang. 0, last row. 0, 0, 3/4, negative 3/4, negative 1/4, 1, and 6. So take note, at any point, dapat lahat ito positive ha. Pag may nag-negative dyan, may mali kayong ginagawa. Okay? Pag may nag-negative, there's something wrong that you're doing, no? Pag may nag-negative. Kaya you have to watch yung side na to. Itong Z, pwede itong mag-negative. Okay? The Z value can be negative but not the basic variables. Okay? So, ngayon, medyo tricky itong Z kasi may M tapos meron pang fraction. So, you have to just multiply this by the negative of what you see. Yung negative 28M plus 46/9. I-multiply mo lahat yan. And then, if you can use your calculator or by hand, just be careful. Add it so that you will get this third iteration, itong values na to. And then, hindi pa optimal yan, no? Kasi may R pa eh. So, mag-enter yung leading variable ka ulit. And then, the optimal solution here, alam na natin from the graphical approach, okay, from the graphical approach, dapat yung last iteration nyo should give you x1 equals 9, x2 equal to 2. Okay, x1 equals 9, x2 equal to 2. And then, dapat, syempre, R1 is 0, R2 is 0, non-basic siya. Tapos, ang lalabas dyan is S1. Saan na ba yung standard form natin? Hindi ito. Okay, I think it's here. Ito, standard form natin. If x1 is 9 at optimum, and x2, ano uli sabi ko? 9 and 2. 18 plus 2, 20. S1 should be 8. S1 is 8. And then S2, ano ba dapat yung S2? Tingnan natin yung S2. If x1 is 9, 18. x2 is 2, 18 ulit, 36. S2 should be 0. Yan. So, optimal solution nyo dapat, ito yung lalabas. Okay? So, meaning, sa basic variable column, sa basis nyo, sa last iteration ha, dapat Z, tapos dapat ang makikita nyo dito, X1, X2, tapos S1. Yan dapat ang makikita nyo. Tapos, doon sa solution column, sa last iteration nyo, dapat ang makikita nyo dito, 62, tapos 9, 2, and 8.